Namaste. Welcome to your 5 minutes of self-care. Today, I'd like to speak to you about relationships. I'm definitely not the best counselor for relationships, but I think the most important relationship is the relationship you have with oneself. Self-care is all about taking this responsibility and having this discipline, showing up for oneself every single day, no matter what, to take care of our physical body, of mental, of our emotional, spiritual, and our wisdom body. And this is our own responsibility. We find ourselves in situations of crisis in our lives, all of us. There's no exception. And if this happens, sometimes we get forced to look at things, look at our lives, our relationships, and the relationship with oneself. The source of all of our suffering really starts within ourselves and how we perceive suffering and how we perceive the relationship with oneself. So if you are quite harsh and tough on yourself, you will have the tendency to do the same towards others. I give you a different example. About 6 years ago, before I turned 40, I walked out of a relationship. Now, the old Geraldine about 7 years ago would say a toxic relationship. I will say now, I walked out of a relationship where both members of that relationship were toxic to each other. You hear everywhere now on the media, narcissism. Yes, it does exist, but it all stems from trauma. This is something really important to understand. And something really important to understand is we need to look at what is within ourselves that attracts exactly that. Maybe we have remnants of certain narcissism within ourselves. We attract our vibration that we emit, the feeling, the emotion, will attract something similar. And that's why the work always starts with oneself. And that's why I speak about relationships with oneself. It starts really with oneself. And being open and having this open heart is really this open heart for oneself that we are able to give, but also to receive. That we are able to look at these darkest corners of our oneself, where we find maybe remnants of narcissism, where we find remnants of victimization that create only unnecessary suffering. The victimization part is, yeah, but this person did this and that's the reason why I feel this way. It doesn't work this way. Life will throw you the same lessons again and again until we have not learned this lesson. It will come back. And once we have learned that lesson, it becomes a blessing. And that's where we become more resilient. We do not feel anymore the need to be triggered and to get triggered by outside circumstances. I'll give you another example. I have been practicing this self-mastery course with Shaolin Temple Europe. And one of the masters is Shi Yi. And now I have the honor to practice with two very important masters for me here in Denmark, in Helsingør. And the physical practice, and I really had another one of these epiphanies during training today, where I thought the physical practice is really how we enter into exactly these darkest corners of oneself. How we know how to let go. If you can feel the resistance we're still holding in certain parts of our bodies. It doesn't exist that the mind and the body and the spirit are separate from each other. This is long time ago. And If you ever feel like you need to heal these layers of oneself and create this relationship with oneself, I would really definitely recommend you the self-mastery training. In doing any art form, physical movement form, I learned this through the ballet practice of 19 years of classical ballet. But obviously, going now to the Charlene practice, it teaches me more about the energy, about chi. And I could feel exactly today where it was blocked and where I still needed to do my work. And it was one position we had to hold really long, and suddenly I could feel the sensations in my upper thigh muscles, which was different. And I could feel literally how the meridians were opening because I had certain blockages. So this is important. What happens in your body, every single sensation and anything that you work with your body is the start, the beginning of creating this relationship with oneself. That then further goes into the deeper layers, into the subtler layers of your mind, your spirit, your mental, your emotional being. That also will help you to collaborate with the outside. And I use this word collaborate and not go against resistance. To understand how you use your vibration, your energy, your thoughts, that certain things that used to trigger you will not trigger you anymore. The thoughts, they won't come, not the same ones, because you have unconditioned and deprogrammed yourself. And the relationship with oneself is the most important one, and that is the foundation, the basis to any relationships that you have with your external. Understanding that we're not separate from each other. We're one, meaning we have mirror neurons. If you're in a relationship and you find yourself fighting, and ask yourself, what is it that you fight within yourself? It's all scientifically proven. We're talking about quantum physics, quantum fields. We're talking about mirror neurons. This is not esoteric or any philosophy that you can find, yes, in ancient Aryan civilization or in Taoism, Buddhism, or Confucianism. No, I'm talking about this is scientifically proven. The mirror neurons, understanding that we mirror each other. There's a reason why certain lessons come back, because you still have this within yourself. Hence, we need to work on ourselves and that relationship with oneself. I hope this all makes sense. I wish you a beautiful weekend, and during next week, become aware. How can you just be a little bit more loving toward yourself by showing up, by going this extra mile, and by taking care of yourself, develop yourself, whatever form and shape that is for you.